Hello, my name's Katie from Katie & Crow, and I'm part of the Holistic Kitchen Academy team. And we just wanted to show you a little bit of a quick ferment, something to entertain you, something to do, and a way of preserving some really important vegetables. We're going to do onions today. Onions sometimes go bad in our cupboard, so if you have got a big bag of onions, this is a really good way to make some of them last much longer. And fermented onions, for those people who struggle with their digestion with onions, fermented onions, actually a lot of people find that they don't have the same effect. They're much gentler on our stomachs. So what we need, of course, is some onions. I've got two different sorts here. I've already sliced them. I'm already crying, so forgive me if I sniff. I've got a red onion and a part of a white onion. And you quite often have a little bit left over, so I tend to do this before I cook my evening meal so that I don't waste anything. So we've got onions. I've even got a little bit here of three-cornered leek, which I picked wild on the lanes when I went for my walk this morning. You need salt, so salt is always a crucial factor in any sort of ferment of vegetables. You need water, because this is a wet brine, and I always use filtered with charcoal water. And then some flavourings. Now you don't need to use this, but it just makes it a bit nicer if you have these sorts of things in your cupboard, then find them. So I have a couple of bay leaves. There's also a star anise here, and then I've got 5 or 6 juniper berries here, and which really make a lovely flavour in onions. They make it taste a little bit like gin. That's why I don't use too many, but if you want to really make it taste like gin, then use as many as you like. And then what you also need is a particular kind of jar. Now we can't ferment just in any old jam jar. We need to have anything that has a proper lid with a seal. So this kind of jar is a weck, is a kilner jar. This one here is the weck. These ones I always think are a bit prettier, and but they're a bit more difficult to use. So this has a clip and a seal, which makes sure that air can come out, gases can push out, but they can't get back in, and that's a really good fermenting jar. So they're really easy to get hold of, and lots of people might have them already in their cupboards. So to start off with, we're going to put these lovely flavours into the bottom of the jar. Just push it down to here, and then we're going to stuff our onions down into the bottom. So this one's going to set me off crying again. So just move that out the way. Push these down. You want them quite compact. You don't want too much air sort of trapped, air bubbles. And a lot of people use some kind of rolling pin or something for this. You want it to go about up to about 1 inch below the top of the jar. So this is about the right level here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just break this lovely wild vibrant food, break the three-cornered leek onto the top. Now when we ferment anything, when we put the brine inside it, we'll do that next. What we don't want is any of these vegetables to kind of poke up out of the top of the brine, because that's what introduces mould it down into the brine. So we don't want anything poking up, because we don't want mould getting in. So I've got a cabbage leaf here. Sometimes I just use this leftover piece of onion top like that. What I'm going to cut, I always call it the trap door. So I'm going to cut a circle out of this cabbage leaf. And I'm going to use that to just poke down like that, and that tucks all those bits of onions. You want to make sure that bit's tucked down too, down underneath, so nothing's going to be sticking up and out of our ferment. And now comes the maths part. So what we need to do is we're going to fill up this jar with water, and it's the water that we need a percentage of salt to water. So I've measured out 300 grams of water here in a jug ready. So we need 2% salt to water. So at 300 grams, 1% is 3 grams and 2% is 6 grams. So that's what I've got here in this little jug. So I'll write the maths down, you know, the recipe will be somewhere else, so don't worry about remembering this too much. So it's 2% of the liquid in salt. And then just stir that around in that water a little bit. And then we literally just pour that over the top. And if it's not quite enough, we can just top it up. But look, actually, it's just about perfect. Okay, now there's one thing left that we need to do for any kind of a ferment, and that's we need to make sure, as I said, that everything, including that trapdoor, including the trapdoor that's underneath there, and the water is underneath that water. So what we're going to do is use something like this. This is called a pickle pipe, but you can also use things like goo jars or a very small glass jam jar, but it has to be glass. You don't want something plastic in there like that. So what we do is you push that like this. I've even used this one before. In fact, we might have to do that. Because what this is going to do is it's going to push. Can you see that? It's going to push all of those vegetables under the water and create a gap. Can you see? Onions, trapdoor, water, airspace at the top. Perfect. Perfectly tucked away. And effectively, that's it. These ones you can leave for a week on the side. You don't want to put it into the fridge. Somewhere a little bit dark for a week. You can leave them a little bit longer. And then the next instruction is once you open them. So you don't open them for that week. Once you do open them to start using them, they need to go into the fridge. So it's quite simple then. 2% wet brine. You can use that same percent for carrots. They come out really nice as well. Put some coriander seeds and things like that in there. But 2% water, vegetables, trapdoor, brine, a little bit of airspace, trapped away for 1 week. And that's it. It's as simple as that to ferment. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope it's another way to make your food stores last a little bit longer in these strange and interesting times that we're living in. And if you have any questions, then just give us a shout and we can help iron out your fermenting questions. So lots of love. Bye.